Welcome to Real Magic Review. My name is Steve Faulkner and this is Charades by Dan Ives and Alakazam Magic. Now before we go on, can you please like and subscribe and check out cardmagiccourse.com, a great way to support the channel and a great way to support your learning. It is what I spend most of my time doing. Just added a new course on the Tenkai palm and there's new stuff being added every month for $9.99 currently, and that's less than a coffee a week. And there's live sessions every week and a really lovely community. We've got the Slack channel, so check it out. And very few people, or if anybody, ever go on there and are disappointed. I get lovely feedback. So have a look at that. Now, this is a game based on the game, Charades, depending on where you're from. I did a similar thing, similar effect, I suppose, different way of doing it, with the game night book test that we did from Svenpads, and it does feel very different that, but it's the same concept. You use the game of Charades to mind read. I'll tell you what you get first of all. This is a deck of cards, but it doesn't feel like a deck of cards. They have been very careful to make it feel like something you would buy from a gaming shop, and Dan is very interested in board games, and that's what sort of inspired him to make this. And the other inspiration was that he wanted to, or the idea was that he wanted to create this kind of spectator as mind reader thing. So the effect is, I'll show you the cards in a minute. Actually, we'll do a close-up because you're going to go out of focus, but I'll show you them briefly. You get a really nice little tuck box. It hasn't got any kind of magic trick stuff on the front of it, so he has made the effort there. It's got these lovely illustrations on for all the films, but there has been a lot of effort made here. They're thick stock. They don't feel like a deck of cards, like I say. They look really nice, they feel really nice, they handle really well. And for those people like me, that like their stuff, you buy a magic trick, you want it not to look cheap and tacky, it looks great. Now saying that, it might actually look more authentic if it was cheap and tacky, because some of those actual real games aren't they? But that's neither here nor there. The spectators aren't going to pick up on that. But it's a nicely made bit of kit, I'll say that. And the effect is, there are many effects. The main one, I think, is really that you've got this idea that someone can think of, that can look through and can decide themselves on a film, and they can act it out, and you get it, and then they decide on another one, and they kind of, even before acting out, you're actually going to just imagine it, imagine the film in your mind, and there's a little dual reality thing you can do with an image. So imagine the image in your mind, and you get the film. It's pretty strong, right? It's pretty strong if you do it in a certain way, and we'll go into that in a minute. But I like that. And then there are various other routines you can do. There's an hour-and-a-half download with this, so there's a lot of stuff. It goes through in detail. There's a lot more to this deck than meets the eye. When you first see it, you'll think, oh, it's just that, and then you realise there's more to it that makes it harder to backtrack. It's not quite as easy for them to work out what's going on as you might think where you can just look at it first time. So do watch the whole download. So Dan's got his routine, which is that basically, and then Pete and Ardy's got some routines that are kind of more based on card tricks, but because with these they feel like more like mentalism, or mentalism card tricks really, and very falling, again, very harder to sort of reverse engineer. I felt that with those tricks, they felt to me, because we know our stuff, don't we, like they're kind of based on that. There's something based on a John Bannon idea, great stuff. But for me, I think there's more potential in this if you do that original routine, because this is all done with cards. And if I want to do something with people, like 3 different people or 2 people or an audience, I want to get away from the cards as soon as possible. So the cards are kind of the catalyst. We're going to have a game of charades. You do the thing, and then you get it up, you get it big, and you get people to do the acting out and all that. So I think it's a strong routine. I think the other routines are really good fun. I think that if you like your stuff like this, and I like getting this through the post. I like to have this on the shelf and get it out every now and then. There is one thing with these kind of routines that I really think you've got to consider. First of all, there's quite a lot of audience management, and I don't mean that in a difficult way. You're giving the cards to an audience member and you've got to kind of tell them what to do. So there is a process involved, and I think you've got to make that entertaining. You haven't got to make it entertaining as in really funny, but you've got to be you've got to be able to perform this, I think. Unless you're with friends, and then you can just talk them through it and it's an informal performance. But I think you have got to consider how you're going to perform this. I think that in the wrong hands, with that kind of getting people to act stuff out or start acting stuff out, it can be a bit cringy. You've got to choose your audience member. You've got to choose someone that's up for it. And I think that if you get the right person and you perform this well, there's a lot of potential for fun. You know, anything that you can get people involved in that feels different than just a card trick or a coin trick. Not that, I mean, they're two of my favourite things in the world. But that's what the strength in this is. It feels like a very different thing. You know, if you think about it, playing a game of charades and mind reading to a spectator, nobody's ever really seen stuff like that. And again, I said this with game night, but they're two very different things. So I think that's the only real drawback with this is that the two drawbacks are that you've got to really commit to it. You've got to commit to this stuff. You can't do it half-assed. And you've got to get away from the cards quickly, I think. If you do all with the cards, especially that original routine, and make too much of the cards, I think that they're going to... You almost want to do that incidentally and get them away from it and concentrate on this piece of mentalism, which I think it is. I think it's really good stuff. And like I was watching the... As he win thing the other day, and he was saying that, you know, you watch Chankan has to do a card trick, but people walk away from that thinking they've seen mentalism. They don't feel like they've seen a card trick. And I think that's even more important with things like this, you know. And there's, you know, in certain situations, they don't look like a magic trick. So, you know, if you sell it right, this could be really strong stuff. So I like it. It's not a mind blower, you know. It's a nice bit of entertainment. I wouldn't close a show with it or anything, but I think that's not what it's for. I think it's, you know, it's a good, solid, fun piece of magic that I think you'll have a lot of fun with, and is very well made, and you get a lot of information with it. Incidentally, there's not any memory work, there's no angles or anything like that. I think in low light there might be some issues, but there's a lot of different methods hidden in this deck, and there's a lot of routines that you don't need any of that stuff for anyway. There's a lot of subtleties, there's ways of showing the cards. Like I said, there's a dual reality thing that makes people think that you're reading their mind when it's a bit less than that. The audience experience something slightly different to the spectator in one of the routines, and it's got a couple of extra ideas, which I was going to show you actually, because I don't want to, because you might be able to get the little code on it, but there's an idea which gets someone's phone involved if you want to do that, which is a little addition, which is a nice touch. So yeah, nice trick. There you go. So all the details will be below. Have a look at them. Like, subscribe, check out cardmagiccourse.com. Stay safe, be nice to each other, and take care.